Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Wrath of the Righteous with me, Bregaton. I'm gonna head towards the city in the wasteland. Let's go and rest up. Now I've seen Gramps and Great-Grandpa Baphomet. I'll be surprised if Mom and Dad pop out of nowhere and try to wring my neck. Blood ties matter little to demons. Descendants are just a resource to be exploited. Do not take it to heart, Woljev. It's best not to think of this again. And do not be fooled if any demon ever tries to lure you to a trap by appealing to family affection. I've seen such a thing more than once. I mean, not just demons. Some actual families treat their family as resources. Alright, a city in the wasteland. The ruins of a big city. It is not known how it came to be here, in the middle of the wasteland. Judging by old Sarkorian maps, neither a settlement nor even a tiny village has ever been built here. Ooh. The mystery. It is a warm sunny day in the Wound. Perhaps too warm and sunny. The Sarkorian wastelands are roasting in the heat of the purple, shimmering sun. Even demonic plants are unable to survive here. They suffocate in the red dust of the plains. A hot wind sweeps across the wastelands, leaving the commander with the taste of ash and sulfur in his mouth. The commander can see for miles around in every direction. If there were any enemies nearby, they would not be able to sneak up on him unnoticed. However, it does not look like anyone has survived the excruciating heat in the Wound. The only sign of life is the sound of insects buzzing nearby. Their chittering noises sound like harsh, rasping laughter. The heat causes the air to shimmer slightly, and through the haze, the commander notices the walls of a city rising up a short distance from the road. Is this a lost Sarkorian city, a demonic trap, or just a trick of the mind? The walls look real, but perhaps they are only a mirage. Commander realizes that it is impossible to tell from this distance, so he decides to explore the mysterious city. The walls are partially buried in red sand, and as the commander draws closer, he realizes that this is not a city, but the sun-bleached remains of a Sarkorian settlement. The buzzing grows louder, and the commander can see Vescivores perched on the stone slabs as they bask in the sun. The husks of their dead kin crunch beneath the commander's feet with every step. The commander notices rotten wooden pillars covered in faded Sarkorian runes. The tops of the pillars have been gnawed into sharp points, making them look like long wooden stakes. The highest of these pillars seems to be a signpost in the middle of what used to be a busy crossroads. The passage of time has worn away all but 3 words on the signpost: Square, Marketplace, and Gem. The commander decides to try and identify the city using his knowledge of Sarkorian history. Sela looks around and recognizes the surrounding streets. She has seen them depicted on some ancient maps. The drawings on the walls depict horses and herds of sheep, offering further confirmation of the commander's theory. This is Domora, the city of herdsmen that was lost a long time ago. The commander recognizes the majestic temple of Gazra that towers over the other buildings. This temple used to be a local landmark and attracted countless pilgrims. The underground aqueducts built under the temple supply the city with drinking water sourced from a lake that has long since dried up. The commander is sure that this is Domora, but its appearance here is inexplicable. The city of Domora was located far away, on the western border of ancient Sarkoris. However, there are many strange phenomena and anomalies in the world wound. This must simply be one of them. Alright, search for the Vescivore Queen. Urushala examines the houses closely. It looks like a battle took place here. The walls of the houses have been damaged or destroyed, and all that is left of the roofs are a few wooden beams. When the commander turns her attention to the insects... Is that supposed to be my commander turning Urushala's attention to the insects, or his attention? And it says her. When the commander turns his attention to the insects, he notices that all the Vescivore seem to be flying in a single direction, toward the city square. Alright, go to Gem Street. Gem Street was once full of gambling dens, brothels, and seedy taverns. Now all that remains are empty buildings and open doors that lead down into darkness. However, this does not seem to bother the local residents. Creatures of all different races stand beneath the remaining street signs. They sway from side to side, and occasionally shout things out as though they are trying to lure in customers. There are some demons scattered among them, but they do not seem interested in attacking. A diverse crowd of customers stagger through the street. Every once in a while, one of them will walk into a ruined building, stand amidst the rubble for several minutes, and then rejoin the activity outside. A demon with his jaw torn off approaches the commander. A buzzing voice speaks a single word through the hole in his skull. Pleasures. The commander decides to ask the dead demon what kind of pleasures this place can provide. The demon doesn't answer. The buzzing, squirming Vescivores gather in the dark recesses of its empty eye sockets. Their movement is hypnotizing, and the commander involuntarily takes a step closer. The foul stench of the demon's rotting corpse is replaced by the sweet, flowery scent of perfume. The buzz of the Vescivores sounds like the song of cicadas on a hot summer's day. The demon's ugly visage transforms into the face of a beautiful woman. Her thick, full lips curve into a seductive smile. She promises every pleasure that the esteemed guest desires. But pain suddenly brings the commander back to reality. The Vescivores have left the demon's eye sockets, and are swarming all over the commander's face. They bite and gnaw at his unprotected skin. However, when the commander comes to his senses, they quickly scatter, as if given the order to retreat. Gem Street continues to operate like a puppet show in a theater, but no more puppets dare to approach the commander. All that remains is to turn around and go back. After returning to the crossroads, the commander decides to... We'll go to the marketplace. So we could burn this place to the ground, but there's no guarantee that would kill the Vescivore Queen, so we do have to investigate and find the Vescivore Queen and try to put her down. Go to the marketplace. As the commander moves further into the city, he hears the hum of voices and the sounds of conversation coming from the marketplace. It seems the city is still inhabited. The commander heads toward the market square and sees creatures of all races trading with one another. Demons and other creatures scurry around between the stalls in the sun-baked square. The hot wind carries with it the foul stench of rotting flesh. As the commander gets closer, he realizes that the customers and vendors are only pretending to trade. They move around aimlessly, occasionally shouting out incomprehensible nonsense. Many of them are missing limbs, and a few are even headless. They pick up pieces of rotting flesh from stalls piled high with body parts. Some of them try to attach these putrid limbs to their bodies, while others stuff the rancid flesh in their mouths. Horses with lolling tongues roam through the crowd. A headless crusader staggers toward the commander. One of his hands is missing, and a stick has been shoved in its place. He holds out a basket of rotten apples. A buzzing voice from the empty hole in his breastplate utters the words, "Marketplace, buy, move along." The commander decides to take an apple. Amused by the odd behavior of the dead man, the commander takes an apple from the basket. However, the corpse refuses to leave. Instead, Crusader grabs the commander's hand with such force, he nearly yanks the commander's arm from his shoulder. "Pay the market price," whispers the buzzing voice from within the armor. Lash out at the dead man. The commander lashes out at the dead man and sends him flying. There's a wet squelching sound as the Crusader releases the commander's hand and lands on the ground a dozen feet away. The corpse gets back to his feet and staggers away as if nothing happened. As the commander moves further into the city, Here's a hum of voices. Oh, we've already read this. Alright, turn around and go back. Alright, after returning to the crossroads, the commander decides to go to the square. The winding street that leads to the square is lined with partially destroyed houses. Many of them only have 3 walls, and others are nothing more than piles of rubble. The commander notices more and more Vescivores flying around, and they are filled with a strange, acrid smell. The square is completely empty, but the doors of Gosra's temple swing open. A woman emerges through them and begins to limp toward the commander. She is stripped to the waist, and it looks as though insects are squirming beneath her skin. Lever Mortis has discolored her withered, shriveled flesh, turning it a blotchy purple color. She opens her mouth to speak, but the words come out in a low buzz that is neither masculine nor feminine. Rubber Vezor welcomes you, esteemed guest. Please make yourself at home. The woman falls silent, and then collapses to the ground. A small swarm of Vescivores flies out of her motionless corpse. The insects hover near the commander, as if waiting for him to follow them. The commander decides to follow the swarm, but be prepared to attack. The swarm flies through the air, unhindered by the obstacles on the ground. The commander has to climb over debris and walk through partially collapsed buildings to follow the buzzing insects. Finally, the swarm flies down into a blissfully cool dark hole beneath one of the walls. It does not look large enough for a person to fit through. The commander decides to examine the walls and try to find another way underground. A rushlight feels along the sides of the wall and finds a hidden door. She presses a nearby stone, triggering a mechanism that causes the door to swing open with a creaking sound. The cool damp air of the underground passage feels good against the commander's hot skin, but the churning of the Vescivores becomes even more intense. Like camping. The commander finds himself in a labyrinth of underground passages. These are obviously not natural caverns, although the stonework of the underground aqueduct, quite a rarity for Sarkoris, is almost completely hidden under a layer of swarming Vescivores. The walls, the ceiling, and the floor squirm and move like the bowels of a living creature. The insects block all the passages except for one, and this passage is growing smaller by the minute, prompting the commander to move faster. The passage ends abruptly, and the commander finds himself staring down into a huge well. The passage is dimly lit, but the bottom of the well is lost in the impenetrable darkness. This could be the area beneath the water tower, but it's impossible to know for sure without a map of the city's underground passages. The well is filled with the sound of buzzing Vescivores, and the commander can smell their sweet scent wafting up from the darkness. The smell reminds him of the sweet caramel sold at Canabras' city festival. Memories of that day come flooding back. For a moment, the commander feels as though he is back in the town square. As if in answer to his thoughts, the giant figure of Discari rises up from the depths of the well. Suddenly, the crossbow bolt pierces the demon lord, and the figure dissipates into thousands of swarming Vescivores. Both Discari and the bolt were formed out of insects. More scenes flash before the commander's eyes. Ash and smoke fill the skies during the battle for Dresden, leaving a sour taste in the commander's tongue. Both familiar and unfamiliar people and places appear for a moment, then vanish. It is as if some unknown creature is trying to see into the commander's mind and access his memories. Yet the creature seems tentative and cautious, almost as if it is seeking the commander's permission. The commander decides that it is time to fight back against the Vescivores. Yeah, I won't have my mind invaded. So what happens if you do let the Vescivore Queen into your mind? She'll communicate with you. She actually is an enemy of Discari and offers her assistance. Not for benevolent purposes, of course, but yeah, she wants to do Vescivore things without bowing down to Discari. The commander musters up his strength and manages to free himself from the hive mind of the Vescivores. The visions fade, and the silent conversation comes to an end. For a moment, Swarm hovers quietly in the air, before launching itself at the commander. He quickly decides to fight. The commander tries to attack the swarm, but there are just too many Vescivores. The dead insects are immediately replaced by others in an endless, relentless onslaught. There's only one thing left to do. Flee. Donald tries to escape the swarm. Vescivores attack him from every direction as he rushes back up the narrow passage to the surface. The swarm is so dense, some of the Vescivores end up biting and devouring their own kin. The buzzing of the insects is so loud, it sounds like the rumble of an erupting volcano. Yet somehow, Donna manages to escape unharmed. Silas' eyes of the city's residents are fixed on the commander. When the commander glances around at these silent onlookers, he feels an overwhelming desire to burn this place to the ground. The commander sets the city ablaze, but he makes sure that no harm comes to the Temple of Gazra at its center, which is dumb. No one tries to extinguish the fire. The Vescivores leave their shelters of flesh behind, and fly away in all directions. The rotting corpses turn to ash, and the walls are covered in soot. As the roaring inferno subsides, the crackling of the flames is replaced by another sound, the sound of running water. Streams of clear water flow out from beneath the door of Gazra's temple and cascade down the entrance steps. The underground stream that has bubbled up to the surface signals the return of the deity who once presided here. The commander feels a touch of Gazra's blessing. A gust of fresh air gently caresses his face. Domora has been freed. The city is no longer a Vescivore trap. I did not know that we got a buff for that. What do we get? I don't actually know. Alright, we're gonna rest up, and then we can just teleport straight back to practically right next to Pulura's Fall. Threatened. The spies have reported that the enemy is preparing a series of attempts on the officers' lives. The generals are asking the commander to take precautions and protect his loyal servants. We can't always protect them, so it's better if they can protect themselves. So we'll probably do this, even though they don't need the experience. Yeah, so train the officers how to fight off assassins. We get security training. All generals gain 30,000 experience points. We could also guard the officers both during battles and in between them. That would give us 1,500 military experience points. Or give the officers the same living conditions as regular soldiers. State morale increases by 40, deducts 1,000 military experience points. Greyborn knows the tricks assassins use in their work. He'll teach the officers how to defend themselves if they are attacked, but the training will require some time. I've had enough of a break now, so I'm ready to help you with more crazy experiments. What's on the agenda for today? Will we be standing on our heads, reading dirty limericks backward? Note to self. It is possible the Paladin girl has developed an addiction to participating in scientific experiments as a subject. I must study this phenomenon and include it as a separate entry in the encyclopedia.
I'm gone. I am never wrong. Weapons, spells, poisons. The art of killing is so diverse these days. A shame one life is not enough to master them all.
Alright, next time we'll enter Pulura's Fall. Until the fall of Sarkoris, many noble families of Eyes floated their dead on boats down the river to Pulura's shrine that was located here. The goddess's priests blessed and burned the bodies and scattered the ashes over waterfalls. It is believed that the shrine was destroyed along with Sarkoris during the demon invasion. Some question if this is true. Alright, I'm gonna call it here. Next time we will do Pulura's Fall and our next mythic quest. Pretty sure that's our next mythic quest. We'll find out next time. Either way, for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.